Deep in the ocean, an orca pod is on the hunt. But these aren't your average orcas. These guys are organized.
Marketing team, did you get those social media posts scheduled for the SEAL migration?
Aye, Captain. We even have an automated notification for all pod managers when they go live.
They use Monday.com to keep their teamwork sharp, their communication clear, and their goals in sight. Monday.com. For whatever you run, even orcas. Go to Monday.com to dive deeper.
Welcome to the RuPaul's Drag Race Recap Show for Global All-Stars Season 1, Episode 12, titled Watch Like the World... No, Dance Like the World is Watching. I wrote Watch Like the World is Watching. My name is Joe Betance, and I am joined, as always... Oh, I didn't think of a word here. By one flirtatious co-host. I don't know who he's flirting with.
God, me neither.
From Alaska Thoughts, please say hello, hello, hello to Miss Roberta Mata. Hello, Robert.
Hey, Joe. I can't think of anything I would want less than the world to see me dancing.
Oh, yeah. I don't think it's good when I dance. I don't think it's good at all. I don't think it's good. By the way, again, that sparkling banter, you can hear it for the last time for this season with Robert over at patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia, and join at the executive tier level and above and get Just Between Us Girls. But actually, I will say, spoiler alert, or I don't know, spoiler alert, full disclosure, we recorded it yesterday. Robert was not feeling very good. So we re-recorded Just Between Us Girls. And you can also get that on Apple Podcasts. If you just scroll where the title is and subscribe, you can do it there. I think it's like $6 a month or something. So anyway, all right, well, why don't we do that? Anyway, so let's jump right into it because Robert's not doing unusual. You see, on Mondays, Roberta usually does it from home. So the schedule's a lot more flexible.
Sadly, yeah. But what are you going to do?
Where are you, like in a private office, or where are you?
No, I'm at home, but I drove home from the office.
Oh.
Yeah, talk about commitment,
luckily,
yo.
The script I wrote is super short, so not even a lot of reading. This week, the final four girls go through the finale motions and perform the number Dance Like the World is Watching. In the end, Alyssa Edwards was crowned the winner of RuPaul's Drag Race Global All-Stars Season 1. Robert Mata, what did you think of, I guess, this episode, and did the right queen win the entire season?
Sure. I mean, Alyssa Edwards has been doing this for 23 years. What have you been doing for 23 years?
Waiting for someone to grow up so I can date them?
You know what happened 23 years ago that I've been thinking, what like 23 years, I don't know why they didn't give like a little Alyssa Edwards section where she could do an origin story and we could learn about why she started drag or how. I'm sure it's through dancing, but 23 years ago was fully like 9/11.
Well, no, but they filmed this last year.
I thought about that too, but didn't work for the joke.
She started in the year 2000. Yeah. She quite caused 9/11.
So she's a Y2K queen.
She's a Y2K queen. She was thinking those computers would turn off. They didn't, and she started dancing. How old is she? How old are you? So much to ask her.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, but I thought she, despite whatever age she is, she danced pretty well in that final lip sync.
Yeah, look, here's the thing. If she wouldn't have won, and even if it would have been Millennia, I would have been, I don't know if upset. This season's been so tiring on me that I don't know if it'd be upset is the right word, but like, I would have been like, well, the whole point of this was for her to win the crown, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I was happy Queen Kitty didn't even win it. And, yeah, I'm fine with it too.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel like the natural conclusion of the show based on what we've said every single week for the last 12 weeks.
So I told Robert I'm not going to try and stretch anything out until like we hit the 30s, but I did have this topic I want to talk about that has nothing to do with this.
Okay.
And I guess it's kind of an apology. I don't know if I'm going to call it right. It's not an apology, right? But it's in that area. It's floating by apology. So last week, Shawn Mendes, they came out with some sort of stupid thing about Interview Magazine or what. I don't know what it was, right? As it was all over social media.
Was that last week?
I think that was last week, yeah.
Wow.
And he was promoting something, and he is dressed like such a fucking homosexual in this thing, right? Like there's no straight man who would be wearing what he's wearing in this little social media clip that he made, right? I don't remember what he was promoting. So I even sent it to a friend, and I just wrote, looks like Shawn Mendes came out, and he watched it, and he was like, I got really excited for a second, but I see what you mean, you know?
Okay.
And then I saw this tweet, and then I must have seen it early on, because then it started going all over social media, different gays making something along the same joke, or about what a faggot he's dressed like, okay? And since someone wrote something on Twitter that made me really think, right? And it had to do with the social media post. It had to do with, they were saying, essentially how the social media post confirmed something they've been thinking, that Shawn Mendes, for a lot longer than we think, probably was wrestling with his sexuality, didn't know or think he was gay. And at a certain point, realized that what we were all saying is true, and had been horrified. And we were watching it in real time as he was horrified, as he was going to have to admit that we were all right and confess. But they were saying, I think they're right, that he wasn't even lying, that he legitimately, and you can speak, I don't speak to this, I can't speak to this, but you can speak to this. I think you went through a similar thing. I think Adam Solange went through a similar thing. And then I started to feel guilty. And then I don't know if you saw this clip from a concert he did like last night or a couple nights ago. Did you see this clip?
I think so. I thought that's what you were referring to happened last week, but
no,
I'm
it was
kind
building
of
up to
time
that.
agnostic
So
right
if
now.
people don't know,
Got it.
Yeah. So he did a concert last night, and for the first time really addressed this. I know he in a song, he sort of hinted at it, but like he really addressed the questions of his sexuality and sort of confirmed what this person on Twitter wrote, that he's trying to figure it out himself. And one day he feels one way and the other day he's not so sure. And I was like, oh, we've been all kind of collectively bullying this person.
It sounds like it, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel bad that I was part of that zeitgeist. That said, he was dressed like quite the faggot in that. I mean, you saw that social media clip, right?
I have not seen it.
I'm going to pull it, like I sent it to that friend.
Sure, no, go ahead and send it to me. This is not me trying to pretend like I don't know things about pop culture, because I do know plenty of things about pop culture. Shawn Mendes in particular, I could not tell you anything about him. I did not know that he sang music. Mm-hmm. Like I don't know that I've ever heard any of his songs at the club, at the grocery store, at CVS. He seems to only be like a social media personality, which is certainly ones that I don't care to follow. So in all this time where people are like, oh yeah, Shawn Mendes, he's so hot, he's so gay, I'm like, who cares? And of course, because I'm grouchy, I'm like, he's not even that hot.
Well, what's funny is I was hearing about him for a long time. Oh, I think he's fucking beautiful. You're insane. But let me show you the picture.
He's good looking, but he's not like enough to make the whole gay world salivate and like.
Yeah, well, they salivate over the potential of someone being gay who's not. Like, look, let's be honest, right? As much as I'm in love with David Archuleta, I have my own reasons. He's not the hottest thing in the world, but you watch these like gay magazines and you would think he was like this smoke show. And he's really just giving, like, again, your gay cousin, your gay Mexican cousin.
Pretty much. Which is fine.
Yeah. So let me show you the picture. I took a screenshot.
They pretend like he looks like Matt Bomer, and I don't get it.
So but I just want you to focus on the outfit, everything, just what it's giving. You can even tell from this screenshot.
I recognize that kind of tightness in a t-shirt. That's for sure.
Yeah. But I don't think a straight man, they might wear a tight t-shirt like that, but the way it's like kind of a cutoff tee showing midriff, that's fucking gay, right?
No, and he has the Gen Z gay haircut too.
So the other thing too is like my actually first interaction with him was, hearing about him and stuff like that. But I remember I was on the road listening to this Sirius XM radio, and one of those station IDs came on, and I heard like, "You're listening to the best pop music anywhere in the world, right here on Sirius XM. I'm Shawn Mendes." And I was like, "Oh, wait, what?"
Oh, God.
I was like, because I was hearing that voice talking. I went, "Oh, listen to that gay man talking." And then I was like, "This is the guy that claims to be straight?" You know? And
Well, it's like you said that. I wonder then to project my experience onto him. I really, until I was probably like, I think up until 16, I knew that I was into men, like the male form. I liked muscles. I liked gay porn. I liked muscle magazines. I knew that I liked the physical version of men. But I also thought that I liked women emotionally. And it wasn't until I was like 17 or 18 that I first had feelings for another boy. And then I was like, oh, fuck, this is real. It's not like some hormonal imbalance that will even out once the awkwardness of teenagehood is done.
And I want to speak to what you said. I've known people who are similar to what you were, and they genuinely were. I've said this before. I've had the conversation with my ex about it. But my ex Cameron was, the reason we didn't work out was he was sexually into women, but romantically into men.
Yeah.
You know, he wanted to have and he still does want to have romantic relationships with men, but prefers to have sex with women. So it's a thing. It's a thing. All right. So why don't we do this? Why don't we take a break? Sorry, Shawn Mendes. I'll welcome you with open arms. I know
that Lori's been verbal in saying that we shouldn't speculate on celebrities' gayness.
Okay.
Or
First
not.
of all, don't take anything Lori says
Why not?
seriously, because this is a person who also says and claims that she doesn't lose her temper at people or whatever, and that I make her out to sound like this ridiculous person who's going around screaming. I'm like, no, I can't even get, I can't with that, Robert. But don't take.
All right.
This is a person who says it takes 4 hours to get from Anaheim to L.A. So I'm gonna say,
all
right,
okay.
all right, we'll be back right after this. Hey everyone, Joe here. You know, it feels like everywhere you look these days, people are talking about weight loss drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy. But here's the thing. You don't have to be a celebrity to have access to these kinds of treatments. Thanks to Hers, getting the help you need to manage your weight is way more affordable and accessible. Weight loss isn't one size fits all. Trust me, I wish. If you're like me and have struggled to shed those extra pounds, you know how frustrating it can be to find something that works. That's where Hers comes in. They're shaking up women's healthcare by offering personalized weight loss programs that fit your specific needs, whether it's GLP-1 injections or oral medication kits. What I love about Hers is that you're not just getting the meds and sent on your way. They connect you with a medical provider who works with you every step of the way, making adjustments, answering questions, and offering real support. Plus, it's 100% online with no extra costs. And get this, their GLP-1 injections start at just $199 a month with a 12-month subscription, no hidden fees, and they ship straight to your door for free. That deal is so good, it's criminal. Start your free online visit today at forhers.com/crime. That's forhers.com/crime for your personalized weight loss treatment options. forhers.com/crime. Hers weight loss is not available everywhere. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Restrictions apply.
This is the sound of your ride home with Dad after he caught you vaping. Awkward, isn't it? Most vapes contain seriously addictive levels of nicotine and disappointment. Know the real cost of vapes. Brought to you by the FDA.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon. The holidays are here, and you know what that means. It's time to get your friends and family the gifts they deserve. Take the stress out of shopping with Amazon's great deals and low prices on a huge range of items from toys to tech and much more. Whoever you're gifting for, Amazon has great prices on everything you need this holiday season. Shop early holiday deals now.
And we are back. The next day after the Lollapalooza, the girls walk in and marvel at the fact that they're in the top 4. Next, RuPaul announced the final Maxi Challenge. The queens have to create a dance and perform it into the new song, Dance Like the World Is Watching. In the workroom, the girls marvel at the fact that they're in the top 4. All right, Robert, let's stop right there. Any big notes or thoughts that you have on these segments here?
I have a few spare notes. I think to kick off with the unusual... Maybe not unusual. Maybe you expect me to do this. I wish that the edit that had been changed for this episode for Queen and Kitty was the edit we received with them all season. I felt that they definitely seemed a little bit more loose and fun, and they at no point really came for anyone else's throats. And I think Kitty maybe did jokingly once or twice, but for the most part, I enjoyed the whole cast this episode rather than, just one or two of them.
Well, I'm glad somebody did. Because I saw this the next day, the segment where they walked in, and I thought to myself, I was like elated that I never have to see their fucking fat faces ever fucking again. This fucking KSC. I don't know why I didn't think of KSC earlier. RuPaul said it. I was like, oh my God, so much better. This KSC and this Queen Kong, I don't like them. I'm so the best thing about this episode is that they have to never see their stupid fucking faces ever again.
Yeah, I thought you would feel like that.
So then RuPaul, well, first of all, I'm going to comment on this. As per usual, they get the boop, and then the RuPaul comes in the video and she starts making her stupid puns, kind of vaguely referencing what she's talking about. Did you have any thoughts about, and then she comes in and announces the challenge. I don't know if you have any thoughts on this. For some reason, I strangely have more thoughts than any other segment.
Okay. It seems like you locked in early then. What are they?
First of all, they're playing this fucking video for the 12th time in as many weeks. And she's like, and they know they're in the finale. I mean, this is what they know. They know this is the last one. They're there, right? And she's like, get ready, dolls, because you're going to dance like no one. But then they're like, what? What is this? And even talking about flying high. And Alyssa's like, I'm wearing a stewardess. It looks like an airplane outfit. And I'm like, what? You guys are doing way too much for this. This is so fucking crazy.
Also, happy Halloween, because I didn't see stewardess. I saw Peter fucking Pan.
Girl, I saw gay, like doughboy soldier. Like gay World War I soldier.
Okay.
God, you know what's so funny? It's funny that you say that, Robert, that you bring up gay doughboy soldiers.
Well, I love trench warfare.
So there's this video. You can find it on YouTube or wherever. It's made in the 70s. Maybe even the 60s, somewhere around there. And before I was born. And
23 years ago.
Yeah. And they're talking to a bunch of really old faggots. Okay. And they're talking. It's so funny because it's like we have this image of the 70s being sort of prim and proper, right? Not prim and proper, but just not the social mores that we have now. And they're straight up talking about the rampant gay sex that used to have in the early 20th century. And they're sitting, and it's in London, and they're sitting in the park where they used to do it, talking about Fleet Week and how basically the soldiers would come in and they would go to this one park. It was right by where the ship would dock. And they would just fuck their brains out. And it was technically against the law. But the cops would do this thing that I heard about this bar in San Francisco where they'd be like, hey, stop it, everybody. And then just keep going, And
okay.
Yeah. And
Weren't there anti-buggery laws at the time?
And Yeah. they talk about this. They talk about it. And that's what I'm going to get to is that, like, look, I am so glad we have the equality that we do now, at least for now, see who wins. But there must have been something. Now, go with me on this, Robert. I'm not the first person to say this.
Okay.
There must have been something so fucking hot to have this illicit gay sex that was so illegal. Thank you.
You have always expressed that opinion, though. From the last couple of years of me doing podcasts with you on this network, you've always been into like a seedy, we shouldn't be doing this kind of like eroticism. So bad. I like being safe at home.
No, safe at home, but like, oh my God, if people knew, like, have you seen those? There's like my daguerreotype boyfriend kind of touches on this, but there's another website that shows like old timey gays in love.
Sweet. It's cute.
Oh, you know what's another interesting one? If you like this stuff, there's some, I'm really mad because he's actually straight, but there's this really handsome, actually very your type too, Robert, this very handsome man. He and his wife own like an antique shop in Pasadena or something. And he bought, I don't know, I haven't gone back so far back into the lore to know where he acquired this, but he somehow acquired a rough draft, I'll call it, or some sort of like submission copy of a biography that Rock Hudson's ex-butler wrote. It was never published.
That sounds salacious.
Yeah, and so he has a series. I'll send them to you. He has a series of like Instagram posts or TikToks where he reads a chapter at a time, but the chapters are very short. It seemed like it wasn't a full like what do you call it? What do you call this thing when you write a book and you submit the thing? It's not that.
Oh my God. Why do I not manuscript?
Yeah, it's not a manuscript. Thank you. It seems to be almost like a version of a treatment.
All right.
So like each quote unquote chapter is very short, only like maybe a minute worth of reading. But he highlights to potential publishers what would be in this book. And he has like a series of episodes where he reads them. And it's basically about, especially the parts when Rock Hudson's just a fucking gay, just being all gay. But like Rock Hudson, it was sort of this unspoken thing where the guy knew what was going on, and Rock Hudson knew the butler knew what was going on, but they never talked about it. It's very, very, it's so interesting. That's so interesting to me. Even though the men that Rock Hudson was into were not my type. Speaking of, this is actually a really good transition. Yes, Robert, go ahead.
I'm just going to laugh about the fact that, that's very interesting to you. It's clear how very not interesting Global All-Stars is to you.
Robert, I'm going to tell you, people are complaining online about this latest episode of Dragula, which, by the way, and Robert, I can see you liking that. You should maybe watch the latest episode of Dragula. If you like train wreck camp drag, like just and that's kind of why, yeah. Christian and I were talking about this last night because Christian was saying he completely agrees with me. Like he has so much to complain about Dragula, but yet loves it at the same time. It's where I am. They've really gone back to their roots where it's just, even though they have a higher production budget, it's just fucking messy. It's really hard to explain. And I think it's both brilliant. It's just camp, it's like they're trying to make art and they're making funny shit, right? So like they did like a musical theater challenge last night where they do a selection from Drag the Musical and Alaska's involved. But the girls sing, but they don't auto-tune them. And it's like not mixed right. So the girls are like, hey, it's up. Like they're singing really horrible. It's awful, right? It's awful.
Not that I would ever expect to do better myself.
Yeah. And then they might, it's homophobic what they do to these girls, right? And then the Blues are like, oh, that was amazing. And then they do this thing at the end, and I'm not going to give any spoilers of who I'm talking about, but so I'll be very general. But the winning team, and this is an interesting concept, the winning team gets to go essentially into Untucked, and they get to vote on who the bottom two will be. Okay. And so they go back and like, fuck it, we're going to do the two best players in the game, right?
Oh.
And and it's a done deal. Like, we're done. We're doing the two best players, these two best players.
Well, and then they have to get like their forehead stapled or something.
There's an experimentation challenge. One of them has to go home. And then they come out and they walk onto the stage. It's really dramatic. And they go, okay, the first contestant, who do you vote for? They get to vote for 2 people. And then she names one of the people she named, and then names one of the most obvious who should go home people. And she goes, I thought about it. And then they're like, yeah, we all thought about it. And everyone is like, it's so, I mean, we talked about producer manipulation on this show. I have never seen anything so blatant where it's like, yeah, we're doing this. It's done. And then the next shot, the next scene, they're like, we all discussed this, but not on camera, and decided not to do the entire original plan that we had. Where clearly producers like, you can't put the 2 strongest players up against each other and we get rid of one of the strongest players.
I don't know why they would do all that, though. I mean, it sounded like that this was just a disaster as it was. So why not, like, commit?
Because they're fucking stupid. Well, what's funny, and again, I don't want to give too much away, there is a very obvious way that they could have totally gotten out of it. And so I don't even know why they put themselves in this position.
Well, that does sound like the kind of messiness I expect.
Like I said, I could discuss more if I could discuss spoilers, but I don't want to discuss spoilers.
That's what Lori and Just Between Your Rules are for.
Yeah. So they do this thing where they keep talking about how horny they all are. And I'm like, I think they really are horny because they will not stop talking about it.
Yeah, I had that same note about Queen Kong. She said it like 4 times. And yeah. I get how long do you think they've been there? So 12 episodes, 2 to 3 days an episode. They've been there like 5 to 6 weeks then.
Yeah.
If not a little bit more. Yeah, I would also be looking for some physical contact.
And also on top of that, because they're semi-sequestered, it must also just be just a loneliness,
Yeah.
So, I love that RuPaul could not say Miss Columbia's name.
Can you?
I can't remember what it was. Let me see what it was. Who was the guest judge?
Ariadna Gutierrez.
What is it?
Ariadna Gutierrez.
With a D, so not like Ariana Grande.
I'm familiar with the name Ariadne, which is, I think it's an old classical Greek name, possibly.
Okay.
But my sister is Ariana. But Ariadna is a new one for me. But I also don't think it's that difficult to say.
Well, here's what I think. I get the sense that RuPaul has never heard the last name Gutierrez before. And
how is that possible?
Because what she was doing is trying to pronounce it phonetically in Spanish. So in Spanish, you would say Gutierrez, right?
I would try my best, yes.
Yeah. But here, when you're just speaking in sort of like an American accent, you say Gutierrez. You don't do the whole diet, like you're like Gutierrez, or you just say Gutierrez.
She didn't do either of those. She was like, I don't even know that I can make
that should have been the clip 0.
It would have made me laugh because I definitely was like, oh man, RuPaul. And then skipping ahead right quick, but she was just like, just call me Ari.
Ariadna Gutierrez. Okay. All right. And then in the workroom, it gets brought up, but Alyssa says she's never had a Tic Tac lunch. And it's one of these things like, yes, obviously, objectively and intellectually, I know Alyssa's never been in the top 4, so why would she have a Tic Tac lunch? But it just seems so weird that this icon has never had a Tic Tac lunch.
Yeah, and we really missed out because Alyssa growing and maturing is obviously fantastic for her, but it doesn't make the most compelling television.
No.
And so I would love to see season 5 Alyssa Edwards doing a Tic Tac lunch. There would have probably been hundreds of quotes generated from that conversation alone.
Yeah.
Whereas tell me a single quote from Alyssa Edwards this season.
Talking about doing it 23 years and
yeah, I guess that's the closest we got.
Actually, let's do it right here. In the Tic Tac lunch, the girls meet with RuPaul and Michelle Visage, and they get a pin. In the choreo session, the girls work with Jamal Sims. It's finale day, and the girls get ready for the runway. Later, the eliminated contestants walk back into the workroom, and everyone marvels at the final 4. Tic Tac lunch, any thoughts?
RuPaul's obsessed with telling Kitty Scott Claus that she's ready for the West End, that she can just walk on in. And I think now that's actually just shade towards the West End. I think she has a lower opinion of theater productions across the pond.
I would say RuPaul has because what's weird is we actually have in real time RuPaul's goes from the hatred of theater to the love of theater when during the course of doing What's the Tea with Michelle Visage. So when the show first starts, she talks about how much she hates theater and she hates live theater and whatnot. And Michelle, vows to change that opinion, and she does. And then
before she was on the West End.
Yeah, before she was on the West End, before she was in that. What's that like? We got to talk about Jeremy or something like that. I don't know what it's called.
There's something about Kevin. I don't know.
Yeah. So, So I would say that the opinion that RuPaul has is just like a very naive opinion, but because she's RuPaul, they think that it's like a genuine. But can you imagine this Kitty Scott Club, the person who every lip sync has the same 3 fucking moves, regardless? Like, I know we're talking about lip sync now, but during her lip sync, she was doing that shady 3 moves she always does for Bad Romance. It didn't make any sense with the lyrics.
Yeah, I gotta say, miming sucking a dick during Bad Romance doesn't totally make sense.
Yes.
And then doing the Monet Exchange popularized split fake out also doesn't totally make sense. But hey.
Yeah. So anyway, look, all my notes about how much I hate Queen and Kitty. I do love RuPaul going to Nalenia, like just doing the full-on Italian thing. And
Ashley's crying again. She conveys no confidence to these people who she's supposed to be convincing that she's like the greatest, the best, the top queen of drag in the whole wide world. Why would you want to crown someone who cries at every given opportunity? And it's not even a judgment about crying. It's just a judgment about doing the same exact thing every time and making that your whole personal brand.
Yeah. She really does cry at everything. And then Alyssa. First of all, I love that RuPaul has no idea what season Alyssa was on.
Which
one?
Yeah.
Which is, look, and if it was Gigi Good, I could see. It's been a few years, and couldn't even tell you what season she was on. 13?
It was 12.
Okay, see, exactly. Like, literally from 12 through 15, it's all a blur to me, you know? But season 5, arguably one of, if not the best regular seasons. And this is when RuPaul still was able to... They had a sequel, yeah. And when RuPaul was able to still foster relationships with the girls, you would think she would at least remember, at least through season 6 or 7, what girls were on what season. But no, she doesn't. And then Michelle says to her, she says, I saw in your face that you weren't happy being safe. And I was like, really, bitch? Because there are rumors that Alyssa had a full-on fucking meltdown backstage on one of the episodes because she was sick of being safe. So she can see...
Okay, so we are going to talk about the rumors.
Well, the season's over.
Well, okay then, because I find it so fascinating that she allegedly had a physical altercation with Queen, maybe had a fight with Nelly, supposedly bullied everyone in production, apparently gave everyone a piece of her mind all the time and was terrible to work with, and ran through several makeup artists. So then how then are you going to turn around and say you're such a mature person, age has done amazing things for Alyssa Edwards and Justin, when it seems like actually she just was the most massive diva that we've heard of? But again, none of this is actually confirmed, so who knows what to think.
The only one I will sort of defend her on is supposedly, no one knows, the Queen fight was instigated by Queen because she felt Alyssa didn't stand up for her during that whole Nalenia drama. But yeah, according to Vanity Vane, there was also a dust up with Nalenia and Alyssa, but I don't know anything about that. So.
Well, I don't know anything about any of it.
Well,
except
also, didn't she actually get in a physical altercation with somebody?
Well, I thought that was Queen, is what they made it sound like at the time.
No.
But Trinity the Tuck
too. Yes. Yeah. So, I don't know. Okay. So the choreo session. Any thoughts on the choreo session?
I gotta say no, because except I did forget that Alyssa Edwards performed with Miley Cyrus at the VMA. So I think in terms of establishing Alyssa's brand and performance ability, that was a good call out, because in all this time I'd forgotten.
Well, I just want to say, because the season's over, that Jamal Sims is really such a ray of sunshine, and I really do like him very much. I don't know if he belongs on the judges' table, but
yeah,
I do.
He
like
didn't
him.
contribute a single thing.
No.
In terms of judging.
No, but it is a fantastic choreographer and just really good with the girls, and I just really like him. And then finale day, they bring in the old contestants, and I was very happy that Queen was the one to say this, because it was so ironic when she said it. But Queen did say this really was the top 4 she was imagining. I believe it was 3 of the 4, but I don't see a world where she thought Nilenia was going to be in the top 4 with her.
I'm right with you. Yeah.
Who do you think she thought would be in the top 4 with her? Maybe Gala?
Maybe Pythia?
Mm-hmm. Oh, Soa. She was tight with Soa.
Well, but I think she was tight with Soa because she was able to sort of use Soa to exemplify the maternal image. Mm-hmm. And I don't think she ever thought of her as actually like an equal.
Any other thoughts on finale day, Robert? I agree with you.
Miranda just is always fun. It's good to see her, want to show some skin, so she decides to go bald.
Yeah.
I mean, who else would think of that? That's so weird.
Yeah. I clocked here that every time Queen cries, she has to mention it's because she's proud of herself. And I was like, of course Queen is. Was anyone ever in doubt that Queen? I think Queen is always proud of herself.
She did say it about 5. So I guess, yeah, to sum up her confessionals this episode, it was, I'm horny and I'm proud of myself. And she did mention her mom and sister, though, which you called her out a couple weeks ago for not.
Well, she heard the
that.
episode.
No doubt, obviously.
Yeah. And then finally, you could even tell in this episode, Alyssa's confessionals the entire time were so giving winner. Like, just so regal and magnanimous and like, oh, I'm here with the little people. And you're like, well, we knew it was going to happen, but it happened there. All right, now we have the runway where there was something like the greatest drag in the world or something like that. And they got to wear, the outfit that they would have worn at the finale. Did you have any big thoughts on this runway?
Again, probably expected, but I adored Pythia's, the 3-headed dog.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I am not super familiar with the dog she said she mashed it up with, so maybe it's a bluish kind of dog, but I wasn't sure why she was blue.
Wait, isn't Ceres a dog?
Are you talking about Cerebrus? Or Cerebrus? I've heard it pronounced both ways, actually.
But wait,
Ceres, where me and Christian went to high school?
Who is that named after?
That is the goddess of agriculture.
Oh, okay.
Queen.
So no, it's
I
not
think
that.
Demeter's her equivalent.
What is the dog? What is the Greek dog that guards Hades? I think that's what you're talking about.
It's Cerebrus. Or Cerebrus. Again, I don't know. I just read it. I don't talk about it at the club.
Dog that guard. I believe it. I just want to hear the
Cerberus.
Cerberus.
Syllable.
Cerberus. There you go, Robert. Now you know.
Now I know. Well, that was a great look. I thought that. Who else had really good looks? Soa Demuse I thought that her not wearing a gown was fantastic. I thought she looked really good in her French-inspired runway type of trousers and drapery. I thought it was really beautiful. I could tell that the judging panel was not living for a non-gown, but what can you do? And honestly, I don't know that the top 4 decided to give the greatest drag on earth. It was more like last piece of drag that was in my suitcase.
I agree with you, though. I will say it seemed like Eva the Queen got the memo.
Oh, yeah. I had forgotten about that one. That one's fantastic as well.
Maxi Challenge. Any thoughts on that dance video that kind of, they were like, you have to be able to teach it to somebody. And then we never learned how to do any of these dances.
I mean, are we supposed to and I guess by we, I mean collectively, like the TikTok audience of Drag Race, are they supposed to be reposting that video and doing that stuff at home right now? Is that what they envisioned the process being? 'Cause I remember in All Star 7 they had a TikTok dance challenge, and it never made it off the screen either.
They don't care. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, well,
they're just gonna do it. Well, I think the way they edited.
Have you ever played Just Dance?
I have. It was like the first Switch game I may have bought.
Okay,
I kept trying to learn Rasputin.
What's that?
It was one of the Just Dance songs.
Like I know the person Rasputin, but I don't know the song.
Maybe you know the song. Maybe you know the song, but it's like
is it sung by Shawn Mendes?
No, he wishes. Okay, Robert. I will say for the Maxi Challenge, there was a bright spot. We got to see the two hottest picture guys. Even though they would only do like really quick shots and never really show them, I'm like, can we just watch them?
And honestly, from behind, I couldn't tell which one was which.
Yeah. The race.
Like they were have like exactly the same frame and height.
Well, they also did a good job hiding throughout the entire season until Soa won her prize how little Sebastian was.
Maybe to you. I think you just don't notice these things.
Maybe I don't notice them.
I was going to say that it was very funny how Soa wins her prize and RuPaul can't even be asked to get up. She just has Sebastian shuffle over there. And because clearly they didn't rehearse it either, because Sebastian very cutely is standing there very confused.
Like doesn't know where to go. Yeah.
And then he just disappears.
Yeah. All right, in Untucked, the Final Four and the eliminated contestants marvel at the top four. Back on the main stage, the Final Four contestants lip sync one last time, but this time they're battling it out for the crown. The song Bad Romance by Lady Gaga. In the end, Alyssa Edwards was named the winner of Global All-Stars Season 1. Robert Mata, any final thoughts on the season?
I do think Bad Romance is a worthy song. You know, it's been a part of the gay zeitgeist for the last couple decades. It's a big deal. I don't think that makes it a good lip sync song necessarily. And similarly, I don't think cutting between four queens performing it really did anything for it either. It was difficult to follow. It was strange that Alyssa was hitting a perfect split while Queen was doing 3 barrel rolls in succession, which is crazy. And likewise, they all did the choreo, which is actually even internally inconsistent with the critique in season 3 when Delta Work and Phoenix were lip syncing to the song, and everyone was like, "Why is Phoenix just doing the Bad Romance choreo? That's not creative. That's not artistic. Like, you know, just it's not the right thing to do." But I guess now, 15 years, 10, 12, whatever, however many years later, we like that. Because I saw people happy to see the edit of all of them doing the Bad Romance choreo. So maybe now it's nostalgic. I don't know.
It all comes full circle, Robert. I have no final thoughts. It was a horrible season. I'm glad it's over. Well, that's going to do it for this season of RuPaul's Drag Race Global All-Stars. Be sure to join us next time as we continue to discuss, dissect, and deconstruct each brand new episode of RuPaul's Drag Race. So, for Robert Mata and myself.
Sashay away until next season, is it?
I'm going to say this. I don't know if I've ever said this on the air. Donna Sugars, in episode 1 of this entire thing, said, sashay away, and then you hear her pause and go, I don't know what to say here. Till next week, right?
Okay.
And this has been a thing that people have done. Why don't you say sashay away? I don't know why Donna just didn't say sashay away.
Well, you've never told me to do it or not do it, so I've just been doing what I hear other people do.
I've never liked it, even since episode 1 of this entire fucking run. I'm glad on this episode when I decided to announce this.
I was going to say, this is actually a great way to close the season with some real inside tea.
9 years later. All right. We'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Sashay away. I don't think I've ever said it.
Well, now you have.
Yeah.
The thing is, we don't even know if there's going to be another season, actually.
Oh, I was talking about the one in January, season 17.
Oh, sure, season 17.
That's 17?
Oh, my God, they're going to announce that probably soon.
Yeah, anyway.
Oh, my God. I need a break.
Thank you for listening to Drag Race Recap. Have something to say? Leave us a voicemail at speakpipe.com/afterthoughtmedia. You can also email us at dragracerecap@afterthought.media. For more Drag Race and LGBTQ content, support us over at patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia. This podcast was produced by Sabrina Vadabancourt. You can follow Robert Mata on Instagram at RAWB54. Follow Joe Betance on Instagram at Joe Betance. Special thanks to these expensive tier Patreon supporters: April Pacheco, Astute Girl, Brad Coley, Derek Byers, Doofus Maximus, E. Smith, Effie Wap, Emma, Phil Skit Pony, Flying Suki, Humble Pie, J. Thomas Plank, Kathy Zender, Lauren Eckert, Lucy Carrasco, Luke Stamen, Mary S., Mike Yeager, Mickey Baker, Mickey Pettit, Poppy Woods, We've Gotta Go Edita, Robert NYC, Sarah Yu, Runner Brandon, Tom Bombs, Traby Cosmos, and Troy Anderson. Drag Race Recap is an Afterthought Media podcast.